Hi there. Today I'm here with Andrea Griffiths. Andrea does developer relations over at a company every developer knows and most developers love, which is GitHub. I'm super excited to talk to you about Andrea. How's it going?
Thank you for having me, Baz. I'm so excited. Still kind of buzzing from Universe last week. Really tired. But the show must go on. But thanks so much for the invitation. It was great to meet you in Texas.
Yeah, it
What
was
feels
great to
like
meet you.
months ago, but it was not that long
It was
ago.
just a couple of weeks ago, but yeah,
Yes.
time flies.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Uh, but yeah, speaking of universe, like we had to schedule this conversation around it. So I know that you were heavily involved in all of that, in all of the organization of the conference. How did it went? How did it go?
I mean, from my point of view, it was great. Like I got to do things that make it fun for me to work here. So I think I came out great. But there's no, and to be honest, massive shout out to the team. They do an incredible job. Like what a lot of developers don't see, the amount of care and preparation that goes into everything that you see. Every little detail has been super thought about.
Hmm.
So they do an amazing job. I played like a tiny part of that, but it was a massive, massive team. This year, I led the podcasting recording sessions again, which was fantastic because the best part of it is I get to invite people that I want to talk to and
Yeah.
then record conversations, record their reactions to some of the ships that we
Mm.
announce, and then get to share it with everyone. So I got to record one live and actually live stream it, which is the first year that we've done that from the GitHub Universe stage. And that was fantastic because it was a very like dear and near um, person to me in tech. You met him, Quincy Larson from Free Code
Yeah.
Camp. Shout out to Free Code Camp. So it was great. It was a lot of work. Obviously, we I had conversations with developers. I had conversations with customers, with some of our PMs that were actually very involved in the ships. With Martin Woodward, who's our VP of Developer Relations, and he was
Mm.
the one with the unhinged Furby keynote on day 2. If you've not watched that keynote, I suggest you go back and watch it because it's quite hysterical. But it's yeah, no, like
Love it.
it was fun. It was a fun event. I think anytime we get to have a bunch of developers just be able to have those conversations, and that's like the best part of it. Honestly, like
Yeah.
besides the talks and the announcements, um, even if you come on your own, you kind of live with a lot of friends. And if you're doing a conference, right, and even as an introvert, you can still find like you felt a connection, and that's
Yeah.
nice because sometimes, especially
That's
for us
the
that work remote, it's kind of
yeah.
isolating, right?
But that's the best part about like in-person events. So if you live under a rock and don't know what GitHub Universe is, right, by now you should know that's the internal conference for GitHub yearly in San Francisco, of
Yep.
course. And yeah, the last one just happened. So what was the best stuff that you have seen there? The
Well, so
best
there was
talk or the
obviously.
best booth
Oh,
or
wow. Best docs. So this is great because you wouldn't believe that I'm actually just now. Yesterday, I finally watched both keynotes, like end to end, and actually watching them because while the conference was happening, like that was not going to happen. Um, and then there was a talk that followed the day one keynote that one of our PMs had a portion in it, Kate Caitlin, and she just brought so much energy to the stage. I love her talk. My old colleague Rizal did a talk on NCP, which I'm halfway through watching now. And then Amanda Silver, who's from Microsoft, did a talk, which was super interesting because they basically build out an entire application on stage from like literally
mm,
from like the PRD through like shipping it. And I was so humble and like embarrassed, but also like delighted that they used a quote from a blog post that I've written like months ago as part of the presentation. So that was one thing that I was so proud of. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, like you never know who's reading your stuff. So listen, if you're
yeah.
watching, listening to this, put it out there because I was hella shocked when I saw that. I'm like,
I
you're
think
quoting me?
everyone on
I'm no
this
one.
yeah, I think everyone on this podcast suggested like go out, put yourself out there. I think that's
Yes.
still the one of
Yes,
the
yes,
best
yes.
advice that you can take.
Yes. So great talks. The My favorite parts, I would say, obviously the Agent HQ announcement was huge because we're sort of uniting all agents under a single platform. If you're someone that's been working with agents, you felt the pains of having these distributed places where you have your starting point, your go back points, and for you to keep up with your checks if you're building, it doesn't matter if it's a
Mhm.
small or large project. So now GitHub's open ecosystem uniting all the agents on a single platform is huge. The fact that you already can use the OpenAI like Codex, then you're going to have agents from Anthropic, from Google, Cognition, and XAI coming to GitHub. That's all amazing and all included in your GitHub
Mhm.
Copilot subscription. So Codex is already available in VS Code Insiders, and that I think like that was sort of the biggest announcement. And then the use of mission control, having that plain view of everything that's happening in your agentic workflows is great. There were a lot of announcements around Copilot. And I,
Mhm.
for one, I echo the community's kind of feeling that we didn't talk enough about the things that we do for open source. So I encourage folks to watch the keynote on day 2 because there were a lot of announcements there from the work that an incredible team led by Helen um, from GitHub have been taking care of these tiny paper cuts for maintainers. And they have been advocating for that for a long time and slowly really chipping away at some of the things that have been just hard and they make for open source maintainers of, again,
Mhm.
small project, big project, it doesn't matter, makes their life so much difficult. And all of these tiny paper cuts combined, reducing that friction for them, I think is one of the greatest things we can do as a company. And there's been a lot of investment and love and care put into that. So watch the day 2 keynote so you can see all the amazing work that they've done there. That was, I guess, my second favorite thing. And the third one, oh my gosh, I mean, I left like my voice was gone. But
That
it's
always
so
happens
hard.
when traveling. Yeah.
It's so hard because it's sort of it's kind of like a mini summit for me in a way because I get to see all of my team
Mm.
and then people
Oh.
that I normally don't work with every day. So it's just really great. And then I'm super lucky that I have really good friends in this industry, so they also come to these things, and I'm like kind of like you, I commit your code. But now we're friends now. I hope so. So it's so nice to be able to like make those connections and like face to face and with people, especially
Yeah.
that maybe you met online. I had someone who's been watching our streams. Shout out to you, Best. He goes by a pseudonym, Best Codes, watching the streams, supporting our content, and reach out to me on X a few months ago. Was like, you know what? I think I want to come and like come to Universe. Are you kidding me? And we were able to meet in person, and it's just great
Yeah.
to like put faces in real life contests. So lots of
Absolutely.
good stuff. I not to be a
Love it.
Universe chill, but it is a good one. It is
Yeah.
worth it.
So before we go back to the topic of AI, because that's the trending topic these days, um,
Yes.
but GitHub in and of itself is like a huge platform because like everyone and everything is on it, and
Yes.
they do
180 million
support
developers, which is crazy.
180 million developers. Let that thing
Yes.
sink in. That's a lot of developers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they have products like actions, pages, wiki, issues, and all that kind of stuff. They have package registries, so it's more than just a code repository product. It's basically integrating developer experience. Um, okay, now we've seen a lot of announcements regarding to AI, but are there any like announcements for the core product without AI?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there were a lot of enhancements to security. Like now,
Mm-hmm.
they're all kind of tied in a way because we have now Copilot Code Review, and us having
Yeah.
CoQL is a big engine that powers that. But I think
Well,
we
what
should
is code
also
QL? Could you briefly explain that?
CoQL. So the company, there was a company called Semel, and they were acquired. They were part of an acquisition by GitHub. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember how long ago. Uh, I'm gonna look it up actually because it's gonna bother me. But basically, this is our security engine for helping you detect uh, vulnerabilities in your code. And another big part of that is Dependo, which was also it also came via acquisition to GitHub a few years ago. And if you have a project, again, small or big, it doesn't matter, You probably have a ton of dependencies that you need to keep up to date. And the process of automating that and making it so it's not so painful for you when there is a new version of a package that your project depends on.
Mm.
That's something that Dependabot does. So there were some improvements that were announced there around the way that the notification system works. And then, of course, around CoQL being that code analysis engine, it looks at the code as data. So if you, let's say, either have code quality issues, that's a big one,
Mm-hmm.
or when you think about maybe committing secrets, when you have code that might not be safe, that you have like SQL injections,
Mm.
that it could be sort of susceptible to that. So it does a lot of code quality control for you, helping you find those inconsistencies that might make your projects more vulnerable. So
Mm.
CoQL is great. Now, one of the announcements that was sent out, and again, we go back to Copilot because now Copilot combines the intelligence of all the models with CoQL to fight the security issues. And beyond identifying the security issues, a big challenge for developers is great. You're telling me now that I have 15,000 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Am I to go back manually and take care of all of that? And that is a big challenge, right?
Yeah,
So now
absolutely.
we can apply all fixes and letting you kind of focus on big picture items. So doing those automated security reviews. So every PR has that CoQL analysis automatically done. It's free for open source and public repositories, which is great. And now with Copilot, you can enhance the once you have the problem, you can enhance the suggestion and the fixes. Always human in the loop. You can always say, well, this matters, this doesn't. But doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that triage is very sort of, it's cumbersome. It's a process. So that was a big announcement. I think we announced something around mutable. There was something around actions that was also part of the big announcement. There is a big investment there. We're going back to fundamentals, and I think maybe there weren't a lot of announcements about the investment that's being put into PRs and issues, but I can tell you there is a lot of investment that's going into PRs and issues.
Mm. Yeah,
We're
I've
now
seen
there.
recently a tweet like from your product manager, like asking about what can we
Yes,
improve for issues. So I see there's a lot of stuff going on there. Even
yes,
though it's not like visible on the surface for like an occasional user.
yes. That's it,
Yeah,
and that's the thing. And that's why I felt almost a bit. It's kind of upsetting to the teams and the folks that really care about this work, and listen to you as a user as well, because I get it, because you're thinking, well, you're doing all this shiny AS stuff, but you forgot about projects still sucks, or I really want to leave Azure boards, but am I going to use GitHub projects? No. So, but the truth is that there is a lot of that work being done. It's just that it's not what the news cycle is going to pick up. So it's not what we're talking about externally, right? It's not what we're sort of
yeah.
the shiny kind of look at this bright new thing. Because that's just the way that the industry speaks now. Like if you go and listen, I'm with the people because I too am saturated. Like I feel it. It gets very old. So I love it that as a company we are taking a look at fundamentals, the things that make GitHub the platform. GitHub, the investment in open source, pull
Mm.
requests, actions, the things that matter to developers on a day to day. Yes, all the Chinese stuff and the AI stuff is important, but going back to those fundamentals is great. I'm glad you saw that tweet. I'm gonna share that internally so people know that when we're speaking now, it doesn't just go into a void, and that people are paying attention though, which is, I mean,
Yeah,
that's important. That's important.
yeah.
It
It's
was.
true. The and like the core stuff is I guess it's not talked about in
Mhm.
great detail, because like you had, for example, actions. I'm a huge fan of actions. It got a huge blast when you released like the ability to run ARM platform and
Yes.
Mac OS. That was huge, but nobody noticed really. So
Yes. I'm gonna share with you because I actually did a checkout with the team that worked closely with the ARM team to like make that happen. I'll share that link with you, and if you could put that on the notes, I would super appreciate it
absolutely, what is it
uh,
about?
because they basically, we did a deep dive on how that happened, like how the process to get into those runners, and like the close relationship we have with ARM. And it was actually, I think it might have been one of the engineering leads from the team. This has been several months. Like, I mean, that announcement is from like, listen, everything feels like 3 years ago, but it wasn't. But I'm gonna find it and share it with you. So maybe folks who are interested in that can see a little bit about how that came to be and like the difference that it made. She does actually a couple of demos that are pretty interesting. So yeah, I'll share that. So again, we don't talk about those things enough. Other things that were released that maybe we didn't talked about a ton. The State of the Octoverse report, I don't know if you follow that. That's a big piece of work that GitHub does. It's not a feature. It's just like sort of thought leadership that the company, because we have the power
it's a
data.
survey for developers that they can fill in, and then you compile that as results and to see like a radar of the tech world, right?
So we get a feel based on like obviously like all the repositories. That's how I was able to tell you that we have $180 million developers in the platform now, with the stat being that one is joining every second. It's wild. Got to see that TypeScript became the number one language used in GitHub, which is kind of wild. There is over 600 million projects. And then my favorite part of the report is we get to see like the geography of code and what code is being written where and what's impacting those regions. Super interesting report. Also, we'll share another link with you about the report itself.
Put it down as well.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, please. So that work is always like and we have a great team of data scientists that's compiling that information throughout the year, and then a lot of thought goes into the writing of the report this year. Shout out to the content team, to Aaron Winston. They did an amazing job with it. So, there are more things that are talked about, some things for enterprise, because obviously we have enterprise customers, and there are things that are important to very specific enterprise customers, like now having cloud with data residency. If you live in the EU and Australia, this is like pivotal for you. You need to be able to have your data and service that are close to you, because that is the law. And that was one of the announcements for the enterprise. And then there were some other things around metrics, which kind of, I feel like they got mixed reactions, because we're talking about like AI usage and being able to have those dashboards available. And folks were a bit kind of like, whoa, are you going to start like measuring productivity based on lines of code? Is that really a good measurement? Because then if that's how you're going to rate me, I would just like make Copilot spit out like to the ends of the earth, right? But I think we kind of, maybe our delivery of the messaging wasn't like the most optimal, because I think that the truth of it is, the way I see it, is more about the power of information and how you can then adapt your usage to be what you need it to be, not the other way around. So yeah, lots of stuff. I mean, you'll be surprised how sometimes there are things that pop up on the changelog the day off. We have a Slack channel that I'm subscribed to that's like just drops the changelog. And there are things that I scroll by and I'm like, I had no idea.
Oh,
like,
we had that.
I'm shocked. I'm like, okay, because again, only like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and you only get to hear about the shiny. Oh, what you have, the AI this and the AI that. But I promise you, folks, there's a lot of folks internally advocating for the things that pain developers the most. Even if you don't always see it, it's happening.
Very good to know. So what do you think is, like, for you personally, your most liked but least talked about feature on GitHub?
Ooh, honestly, the work that the security lab does, like gas, and having like such a big part of the gas offering being free, like the fact that you can turn on, secret scan detection, you can turn on depend on what, like that is such a under hype thing that we offer. The fact that it's free for your public code and your open source maintainers, like that's huge. That's huge. Like security is not sexy. People don't like talking about security. Yeah. Out of all the content that I ever done, ever written, ever produced, I'm talking to some like super like cracked out in the most intelligent researchers that I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're like nerding out. And they are always ranked on the very least watch, because people don't think about it until it's affecting them. And then when
And
something
this
like
is also
Log4j
what
happens, then everybody's like, oh, wait, what
yeah.
happened?
Yeah, until it happens. Yeah, this is what I notice as well. Like there is of course a very strong community around like security, SecOps, and all that kind of things. But it seems to be they have their own bubble, which doesn't touch the other tech bubbles a lot. Yeah, maybe it's just because it's not so sexy.
I don't know. I mean, we need to make it sexy, okay? Because, like, first of all,
Because
there are so many
otherwise,
amazing things. Yeah.
yeah,
There are so many things
otherwise,
that you can have. It's wild.
yeah.
It's wild.
And we all
Uh,
know that. Like, we had like several NPM issues, and
oh,
don't
for
get me
sure. I
started
mean,
about yeah.
I will dare anyone, like, and you might be a 10x developer of your dreams, but I think at one point or another, and completely by accident, because a lot of the security vulnerabilities that we face in applications they're not malicious actors. It's just
No,
something we weren't paying attention. We committed a secret, and now your AWS bill is 20 grand, and you don't know why until you go digging
something
for it,
happened. Yeah.
right? So having things like that free, I think is great. We don't talk about it enough. Like secret scanning has been free since like 2022, 23. And there's still folks that don't know this. And there's still like passwords and tokens being committed and folks that are missing the opportunity for that process to be automated for them. So
Yeah.
I love that. There's now like this security reports that we're producing for like our enterprise and team. They can run this free report to scan their code into an entire organization and figure out what leak secrets they have, if any. And that is free to do regardless if you have an enable or you're paying for GitHub Advanced Security. I mean, that's a incredible thing, that table stakes. You can understand your security posture as an organization at the place where your code lives for free. Another free thing.
That's
See, my
cool.
favorite things are the free things.
Yeah.
Dependabouts. Ooh, it's free for everyone. Monitoring your dependencies for known vulnerabilities, giving you those automatic alerts, which people sometimes hate, but I think that team has worked really hard on making the noise be manageable, and for you to
Yeah.
actually have the vulnerabilities, like have the reports show you
Yeah,
the clearer
that's the
picture.
downside. If you get too many of them, you just stop
You just
paying
ignore
attention
them.
right
Oh yeah,
away.
for sure. I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that. I myself am
Yeah.
guilty of that.
But
Now
I
with the
guess
power
you're
of QL, code scanning, all that. So security and free things. That's the answer.
okay. Interesting, because like I think what you mentioned is really true. Like people don't put like malicious code or vulnerable code by intention. I
Mm-hmm.
worked on a team that had like a SQL injection vulnerability open for like several years. It wasn't
Yes.
changed. It was just discovered by accident, and
No way.
luckily nothing happened. But yeah, that was shocking. That was a really shocking moment. Like could you tell us like the code scanning stuff that GitHub has? How can I use that for my own repository if I'm not like the security expert? Like to just scan my code? How does it work?
Yeah, no, I mean, you just got to enable it. Like for your public repos, you just enable it across all your repositories,
Mm-hmm.
like for like secret scanning. And it just scans the entire Git history. So like all your branches. Um, and beyond that, it also catches secrets that are being included in like issues or comments or
Okay.
discussions, which is now we're seeing what MCP is, that is actually a big vulnerability, trying to do this injection attacks where they try to get you to the agent, whatever it is that you're using, to post like secrets. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that you should have turned on into, especially if you're working with MCP, have that secret scanning enabled. Now the GitHub server by default has a protection against that, so it will not allow you to call a tool if it's
Mm-hmm.
inquiring about like, for example, your API key. It will
So
automatically
that would
reject the tool
scan
call.
my code if I accidentally put secrets in them,
Exactly.
or if I accidentally git push forced my .env file or something like that. That
Exactly.
would match it.
Exactly. And you get a notification immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can set criteria for what, because sometimes you want to, maybe you're doing testing and you actually, you want to, you have certain criteria that you can input certain patterns. You can do custom pattern as well. So it works. It really does. I mean, I know like there is crawlers out there that this is what they do. It's like automated cycle. And sometimes all it
Yeah.
takes is that 1 second. But what you just shared, there was something sitting there for so long and we didn't even know it. And thankfully nothing happened. But it doesn't hurt to add that extra security. So definitely enable it. It's free. It's free as free. And the same thing for Dependabot. And then the code scanning, uh, beyond the vulnerabilities, the coding errors, we had somebody report something, so it's not so much like a bug bounty kind of situation, but it's more like, okay, if you have code that like you have something that might be open and you might be able to come in and do an exploit because the certain pattern or there was an error in the syntax, the way that the code is. So it's great. So that's free. So secret scanning is free, code scanning is free, Dependabot is free. The dependency graph, that first sort of overview of your entire organization, that's free. The security advisor is obviously that's free. And then there are other paid things that are included with GitHub Advanced Security, which if you're working for an organization, they're probably looking more at that because then you can turn on like push protection and other things that are more comprehensive, I guess. But definitely enable the free things because that's enterprise grade security that you're getting without spending a dime, which is great.
Yeah, that's so cool. Is there also like something that helps me write more secure, like better code? Like instead of just scanning for accidentally committed secrets, does it like catch some common issues with like SQL injection vulnerabilities to name one example? Is there something that assists me in writing more secure code?
So that's one of the things that I think like the agents and the agent modes of Copilot are doing. So we go back to that. But it is though, because you can have then where the suggestions as you're typing, like the suggestions are gonna be grounded on what your security guidance to the agent is. So I seen people do very specific agents only for that. They want to make sure that the quality of the code is such that we're watching for, and specific to your project, because there might be things that are not important to you. So that's one thing that working with Copilot you can customize to be specifically sensitive to whatever you think might be the thing that you might be the most vulnerable, and also to set those standards across teams so that if you're writing something and I'm writing something, we're both getting that same guidance, right? Like this is not, you need to go close this here, or that's not how we handle how we manage secrets in this repository. So yeah, like that's something that Copilot is doing really good work at. Outside of that, I think all the manual things that you can turn on and use them for free.
Yeah, those are very cool features actually, and I keep wondering how like features evolve at GitHub, because like you mentioned it's 180 million customers. GitHub itself is a very large organization. So what is the internal process of like idea to production?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, I think it varies per product, really. It products by obviously, like the security researchers have their priorities. Then now we are part of Core AI, so now we have other, like our product people are also focused on Copilot and agents. So I think it really varies. I would say there is a backlog of things that, hence the investment now in issues and PRs and back to fundamentals, because there's been things that we've been having this massive accelerated growth and things just kind of keep piling on. So I love it that we're capturing and refocusing on that. But I guess who picks the priorities? That's a good question. I think
would
we
be
have
my next
really
question.
yeah, we have really, honestly, like we do have a public roadmap that is available at GitHub. I think it might be github.com/roadmap, where there is sort of like this matchpodge of like, these are all the things that we know and we're working on. Of course, like things like what were announced at Universe, what's going to be like follow up with Ignite in the next couple of weeks. Like that's not going to be there. That's sort of part of like, we're still an enterprise and there's still a ton of innovation that's gotta be kept under wraps. If you're one of our partners, or if you're one of our stars or one of our MVPs, you actually get to see all these things and beta test them, which is really cool. But I think it'll go back to what the core mission of the company is really. And now I'm super confident in our leadership at the moment that they're taking a look at bigger picture beyond AI and saying, how can we better support developers, right? We want to be the platform that's for you from idea to ship to your company scaling, to you selling it, to you coming back. I met someone at Universe that told me they came out of retirement only because they saw AI, because they're multi-billionaires. They sold a company however many years ago. They were like, I only came out of retirement just to mess with AI. I was like, that's cool. Good for you.
That's
So
really
we want to be
cool.
the company that you come back to, regardless of what stage you are. And we want that to be a choice, not because it's a bundle deal, but because this is the place where you feel like you can write the best code of your life, ship it, scale your companies. So I think at the heart of the priorities and how that gets selected, I would say we start there. Who pays the piper? I don't know. I don't know who's there. I think it's a joint effort, honestly. As a company now, they're kind of looking at roadmaps differently and trying to tie it in also with the opportunities that we see out there, which are plenty. But I can genuinely say, like, fundamentally speaking, you want developers and open source to stay in GitHub, of course, to continue to be the home for open source and all developers.
And I think this is actually what contributed to GitHub's success. It was not only
for sure.
There was a new version management system called Git. It was also the strong focus on customers, strong focus on open source. And they had the advantage of being that cute little company that just cared.
Yes.
So people jumped on board. And now, I mean, most of us know that now GitHub is part of Microsoft.
Yes.
Did that change the company values in a way?
I wouldn't say. I think one of the really unique things about us as a company, and I'd say take this, with a grain of salt. This is an Andrea opinion, not an Andrea, a GitHub employee opinion. I think I was very fortunate that I actually worked for GitHub pre-acquisition. And then I went and worked for a startup, and then I came back. And obviously, yeah, you go from, I was employee 400 the first time I joined. The second time I joined, I think I was employee 1,500 or something. Now I want to say there's close to 4,000 of us. Just a massive scale of employees alone, right? That's going to change.
Yeah.
We've grown in ways that I think would not be possible without the support of a parent company like Microsoft.
Yeah,
the rate of innovation accelerated. The rate of partnerships grew. The quality of the partnerships, so there were a lot of awesome things that happened. A lot of people got very rich. Happy for them. I wasn't one of them, but I'm happy for them, so obviously things change. But I think culturally speaking, as a company, and this is something that having leadership like Kyle Daigle, who's been at GitHub for I think 12 years, might even be 13. He used to be the director of ecosystem and partnerships. He used to be, I think he's done it all at GitHub, honestly. And now he's our COO. Having that leadership that's been deeply ingrained in the culture and has sort of helped create the culture of what GitHub is and what it means to be a hubber and why it's important to the work that we do here. I think that's helped us retain that sort of authenticity. Obviously, with being owned by a company as powerful and great as Microsoft, there's a lot of advantages. There is a lot of change that is going to have to happen. I think we felt a lot of those growing pains when the acquisition first happened. Your priorities do have to shift and align also with those of your parent company to a degree. But we have been able to retain, I think, a big part of what makes GitHub. And I don't see that changing, honestly. I think it's evolving. It's not going to look the same like GitHub of 2018, but it's there.
Yeah, it is what it is. we are back after some technical difficulties, I guess. No worries at all. I was going to ask if there is a conflict in roadmaps from Microsoft and GitHub, because some of their products overlap. So, for example, in GitHub you have code spaces. They do have code. I think it's called DevBox on Azure in the Visual Studio ecosystem. Is there a lot of those things that you have to account for as a company with the relation to your parent company?
Honestly, I don't think I'm the best person to speak to that, but I would say, like, for example, there was a question always about, well, should we move everything to GitHub now if we were in Azure? And like we always say, like if you're happy where you are, like stay.
Mm,
There was never been any pressure for us to our customers to do these migrations. Like I think one of the things that Microsoft does really well is understanding the power of GitHub as a company and the reason why we have the customers that we have. So I'm not the best person to speak as to where if there is any kind of competing
mm,
priorities there, but I can tell you, like, from based on my experiences, what I see in the way that the guidance that we get to give to our customers when they have questions like that. um I don't think they looked at us as competitors. I think if anything, they're eager and keen to collaborate with us and to do,
yeah.
to be able to offer us as part of like the package that is
And
Microsoft. So
and I guess like GitHub Universe itself was like proof to that more or less, because like a lot of those talks were not about product announcement, but were
hmm
generally helpful for developers. So there is like still, at least that's my perspective from the outside, there's still like a DNA to GitHub that is unique and not bound to a parent company. I hope you can keep that.
you and I both.
But but speaking of which, now we circle back to the Universe conference again. You
hmm
mentioned 180 million developers. Those were not
Yeah,
all at the conference. So what I
they
saw
should
was
have been.
they should have. Okay, do you have a venue for them?
Can you imagine? Can you
Yeah, that would
imagine?
be cool. That would be large even for an American scale, I guess.
mm, yeah.
So I've
Let's see.
seen.
Well, what do we
Go
have?
ahead.
I think we had like, it might have been like 5,000 developers that came. I want to say something like
So
that.
if you want to go to Universe, but like
hmm
logistics are in the way because you might live in another country or costs are too high or something like that, is there a way that GitHub can help with that?
Oh, I love that question. So yes, please, I urge everyone to subscribe to our channels, like follow us and your preferred social media, and watch our YouTube. um, a lot of the promotions that we did, we actually did a giveaway. I got to meet the winner. That was one of my also favorite parts. I got to meet the winner of our giveaway.
Oh,
um,
very cool.
Yes, we did a giveaway. We did a sweepstakes for a ticket. And
Hmm.
then, as leading up to the conference, we do have a couple of different promotions where we do, like there's always the early bird where I mean, it's practically 50% off what the regular ticket will cost. And then throughout, like the leading up to the conference, there's always sort of this discounts. I think for our streams, like that we do live, like our Rubber Duck Thursdays, Open Source Fridays, we were plugging in discount codes like for our communities there basically every week on the lead up to.
Mm.
That's, as far as getting like a discounted code or enter our giveaway so you can win the ticket for free, or apply to be a speaker. That is another way that you can come to GitHub Universe and not only get the ticket, but also get
So you
your
do accept
hotel.
external speakers?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is a call for speakers that it goes out. I'm not sure how early. I think it's pretty early. It might be as early as like March, um, because by July time we basically notify the speakers if they've been selected or not,
Hmm.
and start coordinating their travel. So yes, the call for speaker will open. I know we announced the dates for next year, and it's just October 29th and 30th. Um, but the call for speakers, I don't think we announced when that will happen. But if you are someone who wants to speak about tech and think like, you have a topic that you want to share with the GitHub community audience, like please submit your proposal.
So how many
And then
applications
students get a discount as well, I think.
Okay. Yeah. How many speaker applications did you have?
Oh my gosh, I don't know the total number, and I was part of the grading committee this year. um I dare say thousands, honestly. Like I dare say, I don't have a hard number, but I definitely know it's in the
So
thousands. For sure, it's a big
ne- ne-
stage. It's a great
it's a
opportunity
big
for you
state.
to give yourself
So
some
it's
visibility.
probably less than 10% or something of all the applications that have been
Yes.
accepted.
Oh
So
yes, yes, yes.
what if I was to speak there? What can I make to make my proposal stand out?
I love this question. Such a good question. I mean, a couple of things, honestly. Like, I think, and one thing that and if you look through the past speaker lineups, you can see that there is a wide variety of work experiences and points in careers of the people who are talking. So, no, you don't need to be a distinguished engineer to come speak at Universe. Like, it's not really rated by, okay, like if you are the absolute top that you can get at whatever your company is, then you'll be a shoe-in. Not really.
Okay.
I think this year we were looking for a lot of storytelling for the things that were relevant to developers, but with a good variety. You know, like if you look through the speaker lineup, like there were some talks like a new friend, Bree, who I also met just recently at Commit Your Code, talked about being nice when you're the way that you can do code reviews in a way that is gonna benefit engineers. You know, you can still take a lot from it and level up, but also it's not just be, I was gonna say a bad word. Don't be a bad person on the way that you deliver that. I think her talk is much more eloquent than that. It's something about like engineering code reviews with empathy or something like that. Anyways, I mean, like, so engage across. I think there were different sort of like the topics that were called for. Some obviously very niche, like there were some very security like focused talks, some very about AI, machine learning, and then there were some others that were about open source. But at the end of the day, I think if you're able to tell a story from a point of view that you have the experience, you backed it by data, that's so important, because we have a lot of folks that are great storytellers, but they tell the stories without the metrics to support it, and then it's kind of hard for you to sort of make the connections that you need then to actually put you on that scenario. One thing that the speakers team and the Universe team does is that you actually get a coach. So if you submit an idea and your idea is not fully fleshed out, and I've seen these speakers get selected because we see the proposal and we're like, wow, this sounds really good. Not sure about the title, not sure like maybe the call to action, or like maybe it's like the idea is not fully there, but
There's
you can
some
see the
details
potential
to improve, like always.
And so they'll reach out to you, and the content team will work with you, and you'll have a speaker coach. So it's a really great opportunity. So I would say definitely have the passion and the data to back whatever story you want to come and tell. Any kind of novel idea, of course, obviously, if you have used any of our products and you're able to incorporate that in your story, that's great. Migration stories, I think, are always very successful, like, because at the end of the day, we want our developers to come in and be like, I want to take something back to my company. And maybe we weren't doing this that way, but I saw it at Universe, and now I know that we can work much more efficiently. So those sort of real, true tested, I have the scars to tell the tale, like, and I want to share it. Those are always super powerful. And then also thinking outside the box, you can use AI to help you flesh out your ideas, but don't be so copy paste, because you can tell. And it's getting,
don't
even
vibe
though,
submit.
yeah, it's been honestly, and like LLMs are getting, like, these models are getting so much smarter every day. They are getting like amazing. And if you're working with them, right, you get to the point where it's like almost, wow, scary. But you still need to have your essence in there, and you still need to be able to kind of get folks excited about the idea, and get folks to want to come into your room and watch it. So bring all of you. I love how the way that the talks are selected. Like, we don't see names, we see the title and the description. So you get this blind selection, right? So you're able to have a good variety of speakers, a good variety of topics. But I definitely encourage everyone to submit. I saw someone posted on LinkedIn. I wish I remember her name, because she posted about how, it was like the first time that she gave a talk in English, and English was not her first language, and she was very afraid of doing it. So that language barrier also, don't let that deter you. Like, 9 times out of 10, you're passionate enough at this topic. You're gonna learn it. You're gonna rehearse it. Your delivery is gonna be there, because these are things that you know. You're not speaking to somebody else's experience. You're speaking to your own. And You have an accent, so what? I have an accent. You know, like who cares?
These
Who
days,
cares? So
anyone has. Yeah.
exactly. So we definitely need like all points of view. So everyone,
Yeah. So
please
it's
just
less
submit it.
about the topic itself. It's more about the passion that the submitter brings to it. Is
I mean,
that
I
the
would say
summary?
maybe that's my style of review. Maybe that's
Okay.
more, like my personal, because I can tell one big thing, and I would call this a mistake. And again, this is my point of view, but I also noticed that those talks and topics that I gave my grade based on, I really hated that this was a product pitch. I don't think I saw a single one of them in the
Mm.
represented on the speaker lineup. So yes, this is a developer conference. Yes, this is a great way for you to come and put your whatever XYZ in front of people. But how about you tell me a story of why you made it, how you made it? Let's talk about like, the technical implications. Let's talk about how you went from idea to ship. But when it's like flat out, I'm coming to sell you a thing, like those are usually not going to be very successful. It's just not the space for that.
Mm.
As a developer, you don't want to pay $1,400 per ticket to go listen to a sales pitch. You can do that any
Yeah.
day. So
So
for free.
yeah, absolutely. Like the whole internet is full of those.
Hmm.
um, Other than sales pitches, what do you think? Like, I mean, this is the obvious one, right? But what do you think are like topics or proposals that people might think could work, but actually don't?
Oh, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. Um, I don't know, because I think it really depends on how you tell the story, honestly. Because there's been things that also surprised me that made it to the lineup, where I'm like, oh, that wasn't my, this did not have a 5 or a 10, whatever it was that our grading scale was. And I see it, and then I'm like, okay, looking at it, a whole picture, maybe it does make sense. Uh, Super niche things I think are a little bit harder to sell, like super obscure things. Like, I mean, now everything all is back to being new. And now
Mm,
with so many tools that we have for modernization, like it's actually cool. We're actually talking about COBOL and other things that you would
love
have
it.
never thought that what we're talking about that now. Um, so maybe if you have a very specific story about a modernization project that
Mm,
was kind of obscure, specific to you, and you think, who wants to hear about this? Like those I think actually are very interested, and some folks will find like the technical rigor and all the work that goes into those things. Yeah, this is very interesting to me. Um, and then others that are just the obvious things that you would think you're submitting something about how you, I don't know, enable whatever to make the PR review process in your company. And so, like, you're telling me is I use GitHub Actions and this other GitHub project and this other GitHub
mm,
feature and this other GitHub. And so, like, there's a lot of GitHub in it. And so, clearly, that's a shoe in. Um,
yeah,
and it's not. Yeah, and it's not.
yeah.
There's gotta be more core to the story. I mean, we love your user stories. But, maybe Universe is not the stage for that.
It should be a little bit more than just flattery, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, or name
Listen,
dropping. Or
I know I definitely voted high on some that can kind of come borderline critical, like not like how this thing wasn't working and I figured out a way to fix it this other way. I'm like, oh crap, that's interesting. I mean, let's get our people
yeah,
to go watch that talk. So,
very
but then
cool.
again, I can only speak to my experience of grading. I think we don't really get a directive that is come down. That's something very interesting, because this is my first year as like in this selection committee, and I always
Hmm.
thought that there was sort of this blanket order that you get that says, okay, this is the params, like your left, right,
Yeah,
stay, like this is the
select for
kind of
this,
things we want
this,
to
and
see.
that.
This is, and honestly, there wasn't. It was just like, read them, give us your notes about why you think this is something that people want to see. I'm like, oh, that's it? Okay. Like, I thought you were
Okay,
going to tell
that's
me,
cool.
if it doesn't say Copilot 20 times, ignore it. No, there was nothing like that. There was
Nothing like
nothing
that.
like that.
How many people are
Mhm.
on that committee?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you because we work asynchronous as a company. So, um,
Okay.
I know that. So it was really interesting because they made it sort of, and this is, hey, shout out to the content team. They're smart. I think that they understand their audience is a bunch of nerds that are like
Hmm.
very data driven. So we had like a dashboard where you could see how many people had reviewed how many. And so nothing. inspires you more not to go, like,
Then
because this
to
is like an
jump on
additional
the
thing.
leaderboard.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're like,
it's very
wait a
cool.
minute, what? Like, I gotta find time. Like, let me block out an hour so I can, like, go through some and leave some feedback, because what? Like,
So
they did it
every
right.
talk submitted as a proposal is a chance for you to jump on that leaderboard, right?
Listen, exactly. And then, oh my
Very
gosh,
cool.
there were some things that were hidden gems, and there were a lot of talks that, and I think this is something that we're actually gonna parse through now, because there were a lot of talks that the team loved. They had super high marks. There just wasn't the time. Like, that
Mhm.
schedule is so packed. If it was a 3-4 day conference, then maybe, but for just a very succinct two
Mhm.
days, it makes it really tough. And I've personally said to the folks from the content team and those, I'm like, send me those people, because I want them to come and present at, like, Open Source Friday. I want them to do, like, let's do a coding community and talk about it. Because there were some things that were just, they were fantastic. They just,
Mhm.
unfortunately, there wasn't enough time.
Yeah, it's like always. Time is the
Hmm.
biggest issue that we face.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we need to talk about dates. So when is the next universe?
Let me make sure. I'm going to look it up quickly to make sure I'm not completely lying to you. It should be on the website. And if you go to githubuniverse.com, like, you can see, actually, I think the keynote's still there. If not, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch all the talks. All the sessions are now there. So it is October 28th and 29th. See, I told you a lie earlier. October 28th and 29th next year. The dates
Next year.
didn't change. It's just obviously the days of the week. It's now, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday, whatever it falls on. But yes, so you can join us. It's going to be, again, a formation, which, if you've never been to San Francisco, it does not get more San Francisco than Formation, because you step outside the building and the Golden Gate Bridge is right there. So it's like a really, I think this is my favorite location that we done Universe, and I've been to probably most of the ones that we had in person since 2018, 19.
Okay.
This is the most special location, I think. So join us next year at
Very cool.
Formation, October 28th and 29th. You will be able to see cool people like Bas. Bas, you better come.
Thank you. So the next date. So when is the CFP?
You know what? I'm gonna quickly drop in a Slack channel here and see if I can get an answer for you for that, because I love that.
Oh, it's not
But
yet announced?
I don't think it's yet announced. But I'm gonna ask now. But one thing that I would say, hey friends, there's no better time than the present. So start working on that idea right now. And so when
Yeah.
you do see it come through, that you're ready. And then also, oh my gosh, like, feel free to reach out. Like, this is something that I think I did not do enough of. It's saying that if you have an
Yeah.
idea and you're, like, unsure, or you want to kind of bounce it off, like, let me be your roller donkey. Now, just because I do that doesn't mean the talk is gonna get in. But with the hindsight of many
Yeah.
universes, and now this year, the experience of having been a reviewer, I'm happy to lend a hat there.
While we are waiting for like the answer on the Slack channel, that would actually have been my next question to you. Like, how do people reach out to you? Are you on
uh,
LinkedIn, Twitter, or
I
what do you
am,
prefer?
yes. So I'm on LinkedIn. Andrea Griffiths. Just, I think I might be the only one, and I'm on Twitter. Unfortunately, that seems to be the place where I lived at the most. And so I can't leave. I'm still
Me
there.
too.
I can't leave. That's where most of my community is.
Yeah.
So I'm still there, but I am there and in Blue Sky as well, as a Colombia dev, or Andrea Griffiths. You can look it up. Of course, if you
We
ever
put that
add
down
GitHub
in the links as
community,
well.
yeah, I keep an eye on that handle as well. So if you ever do an at GitHub community, and
Oh,
somebody
okay.
replies, it's
So
probably me.
is that an official handle?
So it's a community sort of. It's a rogue handle. So it's
Okay.
a long time ago we used to do GitHub help, like a GitHub support. Like,
Mm-hmm.
actually, that was one of my jobs at GitHub. I did, like, customer support, but on Twitter. Talk about living in a hell that I wanted to get out of. That was not pleasant at all. And so it's sort of evolved now into a community. It's a space where we can do things that we don't do on the main handle. Like you'll see tweets there in multiple languages. You'll see us live streaming our events from there. So we're able to share. Also, I do a lot of retweeting. If you have community events, if you have any free resource that you have, if you add GitHub community, I'll try and get it retweeted or get it a shout out so that it can reach our audience as well. So it's just a place where we had a little bit more flexibility to like be more the community side
like
of
the
things.
experimental area.
Yeah.
Very cool. I actually thought it was like community managed like by some person without any affiliation to GitHub, but good to know that.
No way.
This goes to your office as well.
Yes, it does. And it's like there are several folks from the there is overlap. Like folks from the main account do look at that, and sometimes you see like things get retweeted from one, and then they'll send it to the other. But
okay, that's at GitHub community.
Yeah, I like to think that that's the space where we're able to promote a lot more things that are maybe more niche things. Like this is how like there we can get away with like retweeting things in multiple languages and stuff, where like the main account would be a little bit more sensitive, like, oh no, we want to keep this kind of focus on the product that we're talking about this week.
Another proof that community is important to GitHub as a company as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, nobody's answering my question. Cool. I think everyone is still hungover from Universe. But if I get an answer before you publish this, which I mean, I'm likely to, I will for sure send you a message. And
very cool. So we put the date for the CFPs also down in the show notes because we don't have it yet.
Yes.
Andrea, that was a great talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your patience with me, and thank you for the opportunity. It was great to meet you at Commit Your Code. Can we plug Commit Your Code? Because it was such a good conference.
There has to be another CFP. That's another awesome conference. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. And community organized for developers by developers, and it's 100% nonprofit. All the proceeds go to
ticket is $49.
Which is wild. Like
insane.
That to me. I'm like the amount of access.
Danny Thompson.
Yes. Danny and team have done such an incredible job in making that conference. I love it. Another conference I love also while we're doing this, you're like, can we get off this call? Like Render ATL. Please come to Render ATL as well. That is such a great conference. It's also done by the community, people that truly love and care for developers, and they put in a ton of work and care in how they build this conference and community. So
Render ATL,
I know.
All Things Open.
All Things Open is another great one.
There are a lot.
Yes, for sure.
We should at some point have like a comprehensive community list of the best conferences or something. I'm not sure why nobody has done it yet.
I love that idea. That would be great. Listen, somebody out there looking for a project, this can be it. Open source.
This can be it. Hosted on GitHub. Help. You can do all the crawlers on GitHub Actions.
Listen, GitHub Pages, another underhyped feature of GitHub that is free. You don't need to go pay hosting anywhere. Like, why are you doing it? You can be running this right there, free. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. You get 1 pages per repository. Is that true?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And now you can have private pages as well. That is a pay feature. Like you can do have a private repo and a public facing page. But if you want to have a private page, I think there's an enterprise tier for that. But still, I mean, it's a great value proposition. This is if you want to gate like content and things like that. But if you're just building your portfolio, you don't need to go pay to do that. Like you can do that on GitHub Pages. And at the end of the day, that's where your contributions live. That's where your recruiters are going to come look at. So might as well have it all there.
Speaking of the portfolio, another completely underrated GitHub feature is the profile README.
Oh my gosh,
repository.
Yes.
Yeah. So you should definitely check that out. You can create like a profile that is .github profile /README or something like that.
So it's like
GitHub?
your name that I think it's like your name that GitHub that remake. I'll look it up, but no, it's fantastic because and
Yeah,
that's such a good place to show more of your personality than beyond like. I mean, your
it's
code
the
speaks for
modern
itself.
version of MySpace for
I love that
developers.
analogy. I love that analogy. That is a good one. Yeah, exactly. MySpace for
Okay, we
developers.
put like a mini how-to also down in the show notes for that one.
Oh, I got an excellent talk one of my colleagues did on that. I'll send you a link for that as well.
So a lot to process. Thank you.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
really interesting insights into the internals of GitHub, like the internals of the conference, and good talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Baz. Think about this next time you invite a Colombian to your show. We say goodbye in stages, okay? Like we don't say goodbye and bye. No, like we start saying goodbye. Like imagine being invited to a house party, like we're the worst. We start saying goodbye, and an hour later you're
I will
finally walking out the
definitely
door.
keep that in mind. Very
All
cool.
right.
Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Bye.